since I'm cooking food, I'm going to answer some questions. First of all, I got this great question. Let me grab a knife. This has come up in a couple of client calls, and I posted a video about it not long ago about what to do when your child tries a new food, and should you praise them? And my answer is no. So that's the spoiler alert. Don't praise your child. And the reason for that is because it's going to make them less likely to try that food again. And I know that's contrary to popular opinion, and that a lot of people do praise because it's like, oh, we're trying to reinforce this great behavior that we want. But really, it's actually going to backfire. And it's also a form of pressure. It's not an overt pressure in the same way me begging you to try something is pressure, or bribing you is pressure, but it's still pressure. So imagine if you were out at dinner or over at a friend's house and you tried something new, and your friend singled you out and said, like, I'm so proud of you for trying something new, like, congrats, like, I'm just so happy and whatnot. It's just kind of a lot, and it draws a lot of attention to it. And when you've got a child that is already resistant to trying new foods, or not necessarily sure if they want to try new foods, putting that additional pressure on them is it's going to make them less likely to do it again. And with some children in particular, if they don't like the spotlight, it's just a lot. So if you're a parent and you are praising, double tap, let me know you praise. And like I said, this is education. This is not to shame anybody or anything like that. It's to help you make more positive changes to help your child in the future. And something else that clients tell me, hold on, I've got to go grab the oil. Something else that parents tell me is that if they don't praise, they don't know what to do. They just sit there and like don't move a muscle. Like the kid is trying something and just like freeze, don't say anything. You can say something. What you can say is don't ask them if they like it. It's too easy for them to say no. What you can ask them instead is, oh, was that crunchy? Or, hey, was your piece of, I don't know, cucumber as crunchy as mine? Did it make a loud sound in your mouth? You don't have to say something. You can also just leave it. It doesn't have to be this big complicated thing. I think what I see is that parents just never know what to do. You are allowed to say something. You don't necessarily have to, though. I'm trying to think of another question. Oh, so first of all, if you're someone who's seen my videos and you have been implementing tips and they're helping, which I've been getting like a lot of comments of people saying like, I've tried, I've been describing the texture of the food and my child's tried things. That is so great. I love hearing about the successes that you're having, because the strategies that I teach my clients and that I teach in my online courses, they're strategies that you can use. They're simple. They're stuff to use in your everyday life. It's not about making something so complicated that it's impossible to implement. In fact, in my current small coaching group, we had our call yesterday, our weekly call, and what we talked about was we actually went through a reflections form that I put together about how you act at mealtimes. Because the way you act and the things you say at mealtimes have a really big impact on your child. I'll be right. Can you still hear me? I've got to walk over to the fridge. Hold on. So, as an aside, I bought these lamb bones yesterday. They're just offcuts of lamb, and they were like a really good price at the supermarket. So I'm making this like lamb ragu sauce that I'm gonna put over pasta, and I'm putting like a bunch of veggies into it. I love the flavor of lamb, but like in our family, well, at least in my house, I cook with meat, but I use a lot of vegetables. So it's rare that we'll sit down and have like a steak. Mostly what I do is like, I'll use, like, I love the offcuts because First of all, like they've got a really nice amount of fat in them. So like when you render that down, it's going to give the sauce this really nice flavor. But it's mostly, the sauce is going to be like probably 85% veggies. And then this lamb, once it's cooked, it'll just peel off the bone and there'll be some meat through it. But mostly it's just got that really nice lamby flavor. Anyway, so back to what I was saying about this, my group coaching call yesterday. We were talking about parent attitudes, and something that came up for when mealtimes get difficult. Let me take a back step. A lot of the parents in the group were saying during the week, so we have a private chat as part of the group coaching program, and we have a weekly call, and then between the calls, parents need to be supported between the calls. That's how you're gonna make progress, and that's the accountability that you need, is me checking in and making sure that you're actually doing the homework that I have assigned for you for the week. And a lot of parents had said, like, the thing that they're struggling with is they're finding it hard to show up at meal times and do some of the things that, you know, is homework, because they're tired. They've got a busy life. They've come home from work and they're tired. How can we work with that? And hold on. I'm gonna get these lammy bits in. Oh, it smells so good. I'm just gonna use all of them. All right, so I'm just gonna let them simmer away in there. So what we talked about in our group yesterday was we went through, what do you do at a mealtime when you start to get frustrated? And we talked about parents' behaviors, and like one of the ones that came up was withdrawing, and sometimes that involves just like going on your phone. And so the second part of that is that we have to identify the behaviors in ourselves. And then we talked about, do we notice changes in our child's behavior at mealtime when we start to get frustrated? And then after that, we brainstormed together. And this is where, like, I love group calls for this reason, is because you've got parents. I've got parents from different parts of the world on the call. So everybody has like a different background and different strategies and different thought processes. And so we talked about, you know, what are some of the things that you can do when you start feeling this way? What's a healthier way for you to express those frustrated emotions, and preferably avoid them in the first place so that you don't feel frustrated? And so we brainstormed, and, you know, I wrote down a bunch of notes for everybody. And, you know, at the end of the call, everybody was, you know, yeah, we're going to try these this week. And so after the call, the calls are all recorded because sometimes there's a mum who can't make it or a parent who can't make it. And I might put a recap in the group chat of like, this is what we talked about. This is the homework for the week, and a special reminder to check in with me. Basically, the more you use the chat, the more you use me. During the session, the group program is 8 weeks. And no, your problems are not going to be solved in 8 weeks, but you are going to have the tools and strategies that you need to continue making progress, because this is a journey. Even if you've got a great eater, it's still a journey. Your kid's not always going to be a great eater. My oldest is a great eater, but she also still goes through times where she says, oh, that's gross, or that's yuck, or I don't want that, or whatever. So anyway, if you've thought about working with me and you like the sound of all this support from the small group is the best way to start working with me, because my one-on-one program is fully booked. I've got a wait list. I've had a wait list for months. One lady I started working with just a few months ago, she'd been on my wait list for almost 6 months. It wasn't supposed to be that long, but my life has been a bit chaotic and I haven't been able to see as many clients as I want to. So the small coaching groups are a really great way that I can support you right away. So my next one starts in July, in less than 2 weeks. 3 spots are already taken. The groups are really small so that I can actually support you and answer your questions in the calls and give you individual support on the chat. If I had 100 people in the group, I wouldn't be able to do that, but I keep the groups pretty small. So if you have any questions about that, the link is in my bio. Tap on small group coaching. If you just tap on the link in my bio, scroll down to the first purple bubble. Let me go put these onions in. That smells so lammy. So good. All right. The other thing I want to talk about, I need to get a stirring. Walked off with my towel. All right, hold on. Oh my gosh, it smells so lammy and delicious over here. Okay. So what I was going to say about the group coaching, if you go and you take a look at it, and look, I'm going to tell you this right from the get-go. Working with me is not cheap. It is an investment, because when you invest and you work with me in a group, or one-on-one with me, you have my absolute full attention, and it's very supportive in the sense that I check in with you every other day in the group and answer questions, and then we have our group calls. It's a very high-touch program. It's not like I'll see you next week in the group, in the call, and I hope everything goes well for you. No, you have me in your pocket to ask questions. You know that you have me there to support you between the calls. And that's really important, invaluable, in fact, because, you know, if you walk away from the call super pumped, like everything's going to go well, but not everything goes well. In fact, I can guarantee you it's not going to go well. I'm very realistic. We have to be realistic here. You're going to go and try the thing that the homework, and it's not going to turn out the way you wanted it. That's okay. I know that's going to happen. And that's why I'm in the group with you throughout the week, giving you suggestions and tips. And you tell me, like one lady yesterday, one mom said, like, I didn't want to put anything negative in the chat. And I'm like, hello, that's what you need to put in the chat. That's what I can help you with. You need to tell me stuff that's not going well so I can help you to I don't even want to say turn it around. How can you use that to then make something positive out of it? That's what you have me for. So if you're liking the sound of the group, go and check it out. If you're thinking, oh, I don't know if I need that level of support, I do have an online course called Mealtimes Without Meltdowns. It's my best-selling course. If you've got a child who you're just starting solids with, I've got a special baby course called Fuss-Free First Foods. It will walk you through how to avoid, through language, through conversation, food throwing, navigating first foods in terms of texture and safety and that, but also responsive feeding so that you can do everything you can to avoid picky eating as a behavioral problem. All right. I'm wearing contact lenses today, and it's kind of hard for me to read stuff. So let me have a look to see if there are some questions on here. There was actually something that came up that I wanted to talk about. Somebody had asked, my 5-year-old is now 7. I think she said that her son got picky when he was around 3, and now he's 5, or now he's 7. Is that too late? No, it is not too late. I've had mums in the group that have had children that are 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I actually had one mum from maybe 7 or 8 months ago with the 9-year-old. She sent me a DM on Instagram, and she was like, my 9-year-old, Miss Picky, as she called her, has tried like a whole bunch of new things, and she listed them out. This was around Thanksgiving time. She had tried a whole bunch of new things at Thanksgiving. She had tried like tacos, like mixed together. Like it was a really big deal. So it's not too late. No. And yes, I can absolutely help you with this. Okay. TikTok. If you're on Instagram and you have a question, put it into the little bubble with the question mark. I'll answer it. Thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate that. Okay. Mama Mia 99. Do you have any tips for a 2-year-old who would rather starve than eat? I got a question like this on my last live. And what I'm going to tell you, I don't want to freak you out. But what I'm going to tell you is if you have a child that is literally starving themselves, that is not typical behavior. And I have seen this. I have a lady in my current group whose 2 boys are like this. And that's true. Like the goal is never to starve out a child. I'm never going to suggest you keep a child hungry so that they do eat something. So especially that behavior at the age of 2, I have concerns. I obviously have a lot more questions for you. If we were on a call together, I would ask you questions like, how long has this been going on? Does it happen at every meal? And then what the other most important thing is, what are you doing when that happens? So for example, I hope you can still hear me. Okay, yeah, I've just turned that lamb over. It smells really good. So if you have a child who is actually starving themselves, you need to reach out to somebody to work with them. It doesn't matter if it's me or if it's somebody else, but I would have a lot more questions. He only has formula. Okay, so I had 4 people. That's almost half the people in my current group. When they started, they had kids between the ages of 2 and 4 who were drinking a lot of milk and from a baby bottle. Within the first 2 weeks, no more baby bottles. That's what I helped them do. That was their biggest goal. And in fact, one of the ladies, we're a few weeks past this now, she actually said in one of her reflections, I was surprised that we were able to fix the milk problem so quickly. I'm not sure what to work on next. So, obviously we talked about that in the coaching call, like what her next goal is. But if your child's drinking a lot of milk, that's definitely something that I can help you. We need to reduce that. Like once your child is over 12 months old, their primary source of nutrition should be from food, not milk. My 2-year-old is struggling with new things. He only eats 5 foods, mainly pasta, bread, fruit. What I can tell you is it's good that you're identifying this early. I have most of my clients come to me when their child is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this has been going on since they've been 1.5. And the best thing that you can do is to start early. Okay, if you've got a child that has trauma and PTSD, you might want to also enlist the help of a psychologist. I'm a child psychologist. Well, I am not a psychologist. A lot of the work that I do with clients, I do have some psychology background. And so a lot of like feeding techniques and stuff is based in psychology, because food itself is highly psychological. Like the reason we eat is totally psychology. So yeah, what I would recommend you do, if you think I'm the right person to help you, send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll get back to you about if you've got a case with PTSD and that type of thing. I'd want to speak to you a little bit more and understand that before I recommend the group. I might recommend one-on-one coaching. At the moment, I don't really have. I've got a wait list for my one-on-ones. So if you've got a very specific, complicated case, send me a message. Okay, I'm just taking a look. If you're over on Instagram and you have a question, pop it into the question, like the little bubble with the question mark. I haven't seen any questions come through on there. So, all right, I need to go turn this back on. Let's turn this off. Let's take a look. Oh, it smells so lammy. I'm going to let those lamb bones cook down just a little bit more, I reckon. Okay, those lamb bones, they smell so good. All right, let me see. It's a quiet time of day. I wish I'd gotten on a little bit earlier, because I know most of the US is probably like chilling out and going to bed. All of his team, including dietitian, aren't concerned as long as he's gaining weight. Yeah, okay, so if you've got a child who's gaining weight, but they're only eating 5 foods, okay, it's great that they're meeting the caloric requirements, which is what's happening if your child is gaining weight. But if your child's only eating 5 foods, so like, okay, I've done a couple of videos about like some of the red flags with picky eating, and one of them is less than 20 foods, but another one is not eating a variety of foods from all food groups. That one is almost more important than the 20 foods. Like the 20 foods can kind of help you narrow down if it's a problem or not. However, if your child's not eating a variety of foods from all food groups, if their 20 foods are all different fruits, that's not variety from all food groups. And the reason that that's important is because across all the food groups, there's different nutrients, like macronutrients, like carbs, protein, and fat, but also the micronutrients like vitamins and minerals and antioxidants. So if your child's not getting a variety from all food groups, that's really a problem. I don't care whether your child is gaining weight or not. I have a client right now, the one that I mentioned, that had waited for almost 6 months to work with me one-on-one. Her daughter is in the 90-something percentile. She's gaining weight fine. In fact, the mum actually said to me, people look at me like I'm crazy when I tell them that I'm working with a dietitian because she's like quite chunky. And I'm like, that doesn't matter. If your child is quite chunky, or your child is on the 5th percentile, but all they're eating are chicken nuggets, I don't care what percentile they're on, because it's a problem whether or not they're staying on their growth curve or not. If they're only eating McDonald's or they're only eating fruit, they're not getting all the nutrients they need. They're not meeting the nutrient requirements. It's a problem. It's totally a problem. So don't let any health professional make you feel less than just because your child is growing normally, that they're fine. If picky eating is you're the parent, chances are, if you think there's a problem, there probably is a problem. So I want you to advocate for yourself and believe in yourself. If you see that your child is only eating 10 foods and the doctor's like, oh, don't worry, they're growing fine, they'll grow out of the picky eating. No, it's a problem. You know it's a problem. How do I wean my 2-year-old off his bottles? You got to come and do the group with me. I don't know if you were here earlier. In my current group, we're in week 6 right now. I had almost half of the people in the group had children between the age of 2 and 4 who were taking milk from a baby bottle, like lots of milk. And this was one of the reasons that their food intake was being inhibited. We were able to remove the milk bottles in less than 2 weeks, for the most part without major meltdowns. Some meltdowns are okay, but like working with the child as a team. So I can guarantee you I can help you with that. Question on Instagram. My daughter is 3.5, never eats her dinner unless it's nuggets or something that I prefer she didn't eat that often. I always give her meals with safe foods too, but she still won't eat dinner. Is it every night that she won't eat dinner? Because I'm wondering if that's more of a she's tired thing. It could be that you need to change your schedule a little bit and have dinner a bit earlier. It's great that you're offering a safe food. I always forget, this is one of, when I work with clients and in the groups and stuff, I actually always have a section on wins in my client notes, my one-on-one clients. When I write up their note, I do a very detailed summary for them. In fact, one lady even said, this is the most detailed summary I've ever gotten from a health professional. And I put a section of wins at the top because we often gloss over the wins. I've had parents tell me, like, this lady said, like, her child started eating peanut butter last week, which is a totally new food. And she was like ready to move on to the next thing. I'm like, wait, she started eating peanut butter? That's a really big change. And she'd eaten like carrots with sweet potatoes. And like, but parents are so like, okay, on to the next problem. No, we need to focus on the fact that she's just added like several new foods here in a week. This is amazing. Like, we need to make sure that we are internalizing how great this is, because this is progress. That's what progress looks like. You can't get down the road to where the kid's eating broccoli and 20 other things if you don't take all the little steps to get there. Very important. I'm going to mix this thing. Hold on. Okay, I think this thing is just about ready to have all of the tomatoes added to it. All right, hold on a sec. Sorry, moving you over here. Okay, so for the girl who's skipping dinner every single night, it could be that she's just tired, and you might want to make dinner a little bit earlier. So one of the things that I do in the small coaching group before we have our first call, I send you a very detailed form that you need to fill out so that I can review it and I take notes on it. I want to know what your schedule's like. I want to know what kind of food your child eats, doesn't eat, what your wish list is, and all those sorts of things. And I keep a record up so that when I'm in the group calls with you, I can easily reference back to it so that we can continue working on your goals. And I can give you examples of things that your child already eats. So if we're going to challenge foods, or we're going to, change a safe, try to build on a reliable food and that type of thing, that I can really help you with that throughout the group. So like I said, if you're thinking about it, working with me, my tips are helping, but they're not getting you to where you want to be. It's because you're probably missing the accountability and the personalization that I can provide for you in the group. 3 spots are already taken. The next group starts in less than 2 weeks. The link is in my bio. Tap on the coaching group. It's a very high touch, highly supportive group. When you are ready to like actually, to show up and get results, I'm there 100% to help you and support you. And if you don't think you need group coaching, I've got 3 different online courses, but the most popular one is Mealtimes Without Meltdowns. If you've got a kid that's also got like a fixation on sweets, take the bundle. Mealtimes Without Meltdowns and Stress-Free Sweets and Eats, because you've got to work on, it's usually picky eating is the underlying issue, and then the child is loving sweets is the second issue. Sorry, I've got like a bit of a cold. I'm going to have to go at some point. How much is the group, Kelly? So the group is an 8-week group, and in the group there are calls every week. And like I said, the highly supportive part here, which is almost more important than the calls are really important. They're very intense. We cover a lot of stuff. And then between the calls, you have access to me through a private chat where you can ask questions anytime. You basically have me in your back pocket anytime something goes wrong or goes right, or you have a question. And the group is $9.98 for the 8 weeks. This is US dollars. There is a payment plan available where you can pay a deposit. And when you, like I said, the group starts in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. So when you register, you get access to the Mealtimes course to start on now. So 1, you have somewhere to start. And 2, when you get to the first group call, you actually understand the basics and foundations, which makes the calls way more effective because I don't have to spend the time going through the stuff that's already in the course. So if you're thinking about doing it, give yourself some time to go through the course beforehand. You'll get a lot more out of the calls. And when you pay in full, you actually save 10%. There's a special code in the description when you go in there. Pay in full 10 and pay with a capital P, capital I for in full, capital F. 10, pay in full 10 will give you 10% off. Honestly, thank you so much. You've helped me more than my pediatrician and other professionals. I'm really pleased to hear that. Honestly, I've heard from a lot of parents that they're just frequently dismissed by pediatricians, because the thing is, pediatricians, I take my kids to a doctor. I'm not against pediatricians. They're great for what they do, which is prevent and treat disease. They are not dietitians. They're not nutrition professionals. Most of them have hardly any background in nutrition, and they certainly don't understand picky eating for the most part. Not every doctor, but most of them. So I'm really glad that that's helped you. Where am I from? I am originally from Australia. I have lived in the US, and I've heard that I've picked up an accent, which I don't like hearing. But a lot of my clients are still in North America. But yeah, right now I live in South Australia. Kelly, thanks. What dates and times are the calls? I'm on the West Coast in the US. Okay, perfect. So in terms of the group calls, what I do, I send out, when you apply or when you register, you'll get a form that asks you, there are 3 different preferences. Not 3 different preferences. There are 3 time and day options, and you can select your preferences. For the most part, what they are right now, I do them on, because most of my clients are in North America, so they're mornings for me and they're afternoons for West Coasters and evenings for East Coasters. So right now, this group, we have our call on Thursday evening. I believe it is, I think it's 4:30 Eastern time. No, sorry, 4:30 West Coast time, Pacific time, and 7:30 East time. And I sound Aussie. Thank you. Thank you so much. I've been hanging out with lots of Aussies, which is so nice. So yeah, basically you're not locked into, normally, my previous 4 groups, the main preference has been to do the calls on US Sundays in the afternoon and evening. Usually it's, like I said, it's usually between 4:30 if you're in the East Coast and 7:30 West Coast. No, other way around. 7:30 East Coast, 4:30 West Coast. And that's my morning time. And the place that it tends to be the most difficult is if you're in Europe, because it tends to be really late at night. I have had a few clients that have been in the UK and different places in Europe, and it's like midnight their time. But all the calls are recorded if you can't make it live. And like I said, I'm very supportive in the group chat. I'll often record voice notes for people in the chat if they have questions. Because sometimes like I've left voice notes for people that are like 7 or 8 minutes because they're complicated. And it's, first of all, it takes me forever to type it out. But also because when we're conveying conversation and tone, that's really important for you to hear. And so I model that and demonstrate it in the voice call. So basically, if you haven't made it to the call that week and you have problems or questions, I will always provide additional support for you. So Kelly, I hope that answers your question. If you're still on the live, I'm just scrolling back. Cool. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go and take care of my pasta sauce. The lamb ragu, it's going to be delicious. Thank you for being here. If you do have any more questions, based on what we've talked about today, either about the group coaching or my online courses, you can go and check them both out. The links are in my bio. And if you have more questions about either of them and whether you're suitable, just send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook and I will get back to you. Just let me know that you caught the live and that you wanted to chat a little bit more. And I hope you have a great day, night, evening, weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.